All right. Hello, English students. This is Mr. Drury. With me is Coach Nasworth. We're going to be talking about denotation and connotation today. I know you're like, whoa, that sounds exciting. Super exciting.
It is super exciting because Coach Naz is here.
That's right. And Mr. Drury's wearing one of his crazy shirts, so who knows what will happen.
How's that any different than any other day, kids? Any other day.
It's true. All right. So, connotation versus denotation, the epic battle of terribly awful and wickedly awesome. And I picked those words for a very specific reason, which we'll talk about at the end of this presentation. So there's denotation. That's how you spell it. Let's look at the definition.
The explicit or direct meaning or set of meanings of a word or expression as distinguished from the ideas or meanings associated with it or suggested by it. So basically, what does that mean?
Holy cow. That was a lot of words. Know this. This is what you need to know. For sure. Denotation is basically literal definition, what the dictionary says that word means.
You know how I remember that?
How?
Because denotation starts with a D, as does both definition and dictionary.
Wow.
I'm always taking the shortcut.
And it's a good idea to do that. So there you go. All right, so let's give some examples. Well, I'm going to throw some words at you. Green. You don't have any feelings about green, possibly. It's just a color.
No, it's just yellow and blue.
And then there's brown.
Whoa, hey.
Yeah, that one's a little more loaded. We saw that one in A Wrinkle in Time. You may have some ideas about what that means. Fuzzy.
That makes me feel all warm and cozy, like my fuzzy slippers.
Purred.
That reminds me of kitty cats.
Yeah, and
they're happy.
Flat.
Flat, that's boring.
Yeah, so there's some words, and those are some connotations you heard there. But if you go back, let me go back to that for a second. If you actually look at these words, there's no feeling really with them in the dictionary.
No, in the dictionary, they would just say, like, not round.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So when we go and we look at connotation and what's going on with connotation, here's our definition: the associated or secondary meaning of a word or expression in addition to its explicit or primary meaning. A possible connotation, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, go ahead, you're doing a great job.
A possible connotation of home is a place of warmth, comfort, and affection. And if you've done the poetry, what's the house thing?
The abandoned farmhouse.
The abandoned farmhouse, you kind of start to understand what connotation is with that home. And my classes will be doing that this week, so we'll know a little bit about that.
It's a good one.
Yep, but holy cow, again, that's a lot of words. And once again, know this. Connotation equals the imagery or feelings the words evoke in the reader's mind. So imagery, that's an important literary analysis word, so it's going to be tied into that. Something you should be noting when you're annotating your book is the connotation of certain words. So connotations can either be positive, it creates a happy picture in your head, or negative.
It creates a gross, sad, disturbing picture in our head.
Or other things.
Yeah.
So if you go, for example, remember those words from denotation? We got green.
Which denotatively, just yellow and blue mixed.
Right, but with connotation, let's read this sentence. When he smelled the rancid, maggot-covered meat, he went green about the gills.
Oh, totally sick.
Right, and there you go. Sick child, expect vomit. Let me see if I can get this window to go away. That'll help us, huh? All right, yeah. I've been very fortunate with my son. He hasn't really gotten sick like that. Probably now that I've done this, he will. When she saw how good her sister looked in her dress, she was green with envy.
Ooh.
And look, these two bananas are green. This is when I Googled green with envy. This was like the first image that came up.
Clever art.
Yeah, I like it. The bananas that aren't ripe yet are totally jealous of this one.
Because they're not going to get picked.
That's right. They're going to pick this one.
Because they taste bad.
That's right.
Because they're still green.
That's right. But this one's going to turn brown soon, and then these will be yellow. Yeah, and they'll be looking at them. But
hey, wasn't there a word brown in your denotation list?
I think so. Oh, look at that, brown.
Oh my God!
It's like we planned it. Oh. All right. Shelby was horrified when Kevin pulled up in his poop brown El Camino to pick her up for prom.
Oh, first of all, El Camino, bad idea. Second of all, yeah, even though it's poop brown, I mean, what if it was chocolate brown? Does that make a more positive connotation?
See,
I think so.
Here's some pictures to really illustrate how that is a negative connotation.
Yeah, no.
See, I keep telling my wife that that's the car I want. Every anniversary I tell her it's the El Camino anniversary, so she'll get me one of those.
I don't think you can drive that car to church any more than you can wear that shirt to church.
Yeah. That's like the mullet of cars. It's like business in the front, party in the back.
Okay.
You know, with the
Yeah.
hair, right?
Yeah,
Okay. All right. She looks stunning in her chocolate brown dress.
Oh my gosh.
How did you know?
I'm a genius.
It's true. And I'm just going to go right past that picture. She does look stunning. We'll go on. Fuzzy. Yes, the fuzzy kitten warmed my heart.
And who wouldn't look at that cute little kitty cat? Oh.
Yeah.
Still can't hear us.
Yeah, I can't hear us.
It's not true, kids. Don't cry.
He's probably got his ears pinned back, like behind his head or
Yeah.
something. It's a good old law cat. Now look, just to show that some words can have positive and negative connotation depending on the reader. The moldy food smelled gross and was fuzzy all over.
Okay, so let me ask a question, Mr. Drury.
Yeah.
With the kitten, fuzzy was a positive connotation. With the moldy food, fuzzy is a negative connotation. Does the connotation have any impact? Is it impacted by the other words in the sentence?
Yeah, I think you've got to look at your context clues to determine if it's got a positive or negative connotation, because we all have certain feelings about words, and it's easy to look at something our author wrote and be like, oh, that just makes me feel all gross inside. But when you look at the words around it, you can kind of tell what the author is going for. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes.
Ah.
All right.
Oh.
That's a moldy tomato.
Oh, no.
I found that on the internet, not my fridge.
Oh.
But when I was a
Things
single,
you might find in a refrigerator.
yeah, especially of single Mr. Drury before I got married. Flat. Where could this possibly go? Well, let's see. The critics said her performance fell flat.
No, he didn't say that about mine.
No, but when they say that,
Boring.
you can figure out that they did not give the best performance in that play or in singing that song. Speaking of music, as soon as he started his solo, he could tell the notes were flat and his saxophone was badly out of tune.
Wah, wah,
Wah,
wah.
wah, sounds bad. Great, but why is it so important? When I googled great, that picture came up. I thought it was pretty great.
Great
white, yeah.
Ba-dum-ching.
It's a pun, kids. Yay.
Words are fun.
All right, so connotations can tell us about the author's purpose and give us insight to setting, characterization, theme, and all that fun stuff, the stuff that you're annotating for. So it's like connotations and annotations are things that should go together. All right, let's look at some passages from A Wrinkle in Time so that you can see what I'm talking about. Automatically, she pushed her glasses into position, ran her fingers through her mouse brown hair so that it stood wildly on end, and let out a sigh almost as noisy as the wind.
Well, I think that plays a lot into just how Meg feels about herself. How would we get a different picture of Meg if she had caramel brown hair or chocolate brown hair?
Chestnut brown.
Or chestnut brown hair. But Meg, how does she feel about herself? Not so great.
Right. Why did the author choose mouse brown to describe Meg? Exactly those things.
It's like I teach this or something.
I know. So what connotation does the word mouse brown have? Is it positive, negative? That's obviously
Thumbs down,
negative. Guys, just a hot little dating tip here. If you're ever writing a love poem to your girlfriend or the girl that you hope is your girlfriend or that girl who got a restraining order against you, if you're writing that love poem, do not compare her to a rodent of any kind. That is not flattering. That will hurt her feelings.
And if she has blonde hair, don't say she has dishwater blonde hair like my mother always said about me. I still bear the emotional scarring.
That's right.
Sad.
You want to go with sandy blonde.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Golden blonde.
Oh, yeah. All right, what does it reveal about Meg as a character? Is it really the author describing the hair as mouse brown, or is it someone else? I think Coach Naz already touched on that.
Yeah.
And you can see in those first 2 pages, if you annotate it appropriately, Meg does not feel so good about herself. She's getting beat up at school. She's beating people up. She's all the things wrong with school. It's all on top of her. Okay? School on top of me, on top of everything. Look, let's look at another passage. I know you're excited, right?
Can't wait.
Sandy murmured something about baseball and subsided. Sandy's her brother. This is when she's creeping down the stairs. What does the word murmured make you feel? Let's look at that. Let's see. What connotation does the word murmur? Oh, that should be bring, not brine. Oh,
That's
Mr.
all right.
Jury can't type.
It'll be fixed by tomorrow, kids.
All right, what picture does it paint in your head? What does the word murmur do for you?
It's very soft, secretive almost.
Mm-hmm.
Not meant to be heard by everyone.
Mm-hmm. So if it's happening when he's sleeping, it's creating kind of an atmosphere. How does the connotation affect the setting and the mood of the story? If she's creeping down the stairs and she's skipping over, if you notice, kids, she skips over the step that squeaks and she thinks about her mom in the bed by herself. What's happening to the setting now is she's leaving her noisy, storm-filled bedroom. What's the connotation doing there? Okay, it's basically telling us, let's go back for just a second, it's basically telling us that now we're going into the quiet house and she's trying not to wake up her family or to disturb them. She thinks she's all alone in this house.
Also, as she's moving the kitchen, it's becoming more peaceful.
Yep.
Gone from the racket and noise, down the stairs to the kitchen, which is the heart of the house.
Right, and so we're going back to look at that passage. The furnace, this is when she's sitting in the kitchen. Her brother and her mother are both awake, and they're sitting down there getting ready to have hot cocoa, and none of them can sleep because of the storm, but the two twins are in bed still asleep. It says, the furnace purred like a great sleepy animal. The lights glowed with steady radiance outside. Alone in the dark, the wind still battered against the house, but the angry power that had frightened Meg while she was alone in the attic was subdued by the familiar comfort of the kitchen. Now, I've highlighted some words for you here. Purred and battered are the ones I really want to look at the most. There's other words here that bring up feelings with you, with their connotation, but those two particularly have some special stuff going on. That was a lot of words. Again.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Sometimes I thought about doing...
Who paints that on their cow?
I don't know. That's crazy. All right. Think about those words. What connotations go with each of them? Are they positive or negative? Let's go back and look at the passage again. No, look especially at purred and battered. Now let's look at the passage. All right, you're looking at it, you're thinking about it. You can pause this video and be thinking and making notes if you wanted. All right, those two words are also being used with personification, aren't they? What usually purrs?
Kittens.
Yep. What kind of feeling does a purr convey?
Content.
Contentment.
They don't purr when they're angry.
Happy, safe. Compare that with battered, okay? What's going on when something's getting battered?
Getting beat up.
Yeah, and exactly. That storm is outside the house, battering the house. But now that she's with her brother and her mother, how does she feel about everything? Are all the sounds all that bad anymore?
Nope.
Has that changed our setting? Has that changed our mood?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's moved from her attic.
And if you go back to the very first of the chapter and you look at the words that are being used there, they're all overwhelmingly negative. But when she moves down for hot cocoa, the vocabulary becomes more positive.
Yeah.
Clever trick, Madeline Lingle.
Yeah, the writer does a really good job here with the connotations. These words are tied to setting, and I could go on and show you some more of this stuff, but we're going to stop and just kind of talk about it. We've talked about it a lot. And this is why it's important. When the author wants to change something, they do it with the words, and paying attention to those mood words and how you feel the same way the character's feeling as she goes from feeling bad about herself and being alone and in that storm to being with her family. And knowing that the setting, the larger setting, where do they live? Small town, right?
Yeah.
And is that a safe place for her?
Yeah.
Is it a safe place with all?
Oh, is it a safe place? I'm so sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was putting my own context in. I grew up in a small town.
Yeah.
It's a safe place feeling for a lot of kids, but not all kids, because there's nowhere to really hide from people you don't want to see or be around, or they're always in your business.
And so she's having that outside, but what is her family? What do these words tell you about her family?
That they make her happy and cozy and feel good.
And it's their safe place. Connotations can tell us about the author's purpose and give us insight to setting, characterization, theme, etc. That's why it's important to know connotation, kids. I hope you've been taking Cornell notes all along. If you got to this point and you were just watching and listening and laughing, or wishing that you didn't have such a nerdy teacher as Mr. Drury, or why don't I have the awesome teacher that is Coach Nasworth, go back. You can watch this again. You can pause at any point, write things down, and you'll be bringing Cornell notes to class to show me. So know that connotation, the imagery or feelings the words evoke in the reader's mind, is very important to author's purpose, to understanding the meaning. So we go back to the title. That was denotation versus connotation. The epic battle of terribly awful and wickedly awesome. These words that I've chosen, I purposely chose terribly awful. Terribly can be terrible, but if it says it was terribly exciting, that changes the connotation of the word.
Absolutely. Kicks it up a notch.
Wicked can be awful. She was a wicked stepmother, but if it's wickedly awesome, then it brings up images of...
it's like awesome to the extreme.
To the extreme, and it's so 80s too.
Yeah.
Awful and awesome are actually the same root, full of awe. This used to be a positive word, awful. People used to be full of awe at the power of something. The people were all awful at the king. But now it's become to mean terrible and horrible, and awesome has been the thing that shows us that we're full of awe. So that's how Connotation can change our whole world with the meaning behind the words, kids. That concludes this presentation. Hope you got some good stuff, and I will see you in class tomorrow.
See you on the flip side.
That's right.